I see many people begin to abuse the place of God, and for some time now, I feel that God being a miracle worker is the beautiful thing. God being a supernatural, all-knowing, almighty is a beautiful thing. But it is wrong for you and I to think God is a magician. God is a miracle worker, yes, but God being a magician is a no-no. What is the difference between a magician and a miracle worker? When it comes to God being a miracle worker, it means God being the supernatural. It means God perform miracle when all the natural process, natural principle, natural law have been passed through and no result have been gotten. God can decide to act in that place. At that point, we see God as a miracle worker. It means He is a God that respects principle. He is a God that created it, that established this thing called principle in the first place. So God will allow those processes to pass through before God will decide to act as a miracle worker. But on the other hand, a magician is someone that decides to take a shortcut to something without or with deliberate act in order to forgo or decide not to work with the principle that is being listed. Well, let me make it more clear. When you decide not to do something, when you decide not to farm, and at the end of it you want to reap, you are being seen like a miracle worker who decide not to follow the process, who is just after the event, who is after deciding to follow the principle or not, despite that you want to get your result. And God is not like that. It was God that initiated or established this principle of harvest and sowing, the principle of if you do this you get this, the principle of following step and order. So God will always act as a miracle worker when you decide in the way things are ought to be and the result seems not to come for one reason or another, maybe because of season or because of challenges or because of one power or principality or whatever. God can decide to act. You cannot decide not to plant and decide you want to reap. It is an error, and our God is not a magician. If you check what magicians do, magicians decide to do what they want to do and decide the time and season they should get their result. While on the other part, God is a respecter of His word. He Himself established or put this principle in place. So maybe you've been trusting God for a breakthrough, maybe you've been trusting God for a financial breakthrough and you are not doing anything. It is important that you know it's possible that you are seeing God as a magician if you decide not to eat, and at the end of it or you just want to pray and God should fill you when you know that you have food at home to eat or whatever. You decide you want to be satisfied without eating. It's possible you are seeing God as a magician. If you decide not to get married, and if you decide to get married to your same gender, like a man getting married to a man and praying to God or fasting to God to get a child, it's possible you are seeing God as a magician. But when you decide to work things as it ought to be, when you decide to follow the due process, it means you are believing that God has set a standard. You are respecting God's word, you are respecting God's standard. So it is unfortunate to see Christians in the church being poor and broke, knowing fully well that God owns heaven and earth, knowing fully well that the blessings on earth and in heaven belongs to God. And most times you see them suffer, you see them in poverty, you see them lamenting, you see them begging for crumbs, and they just believe someday God will bless them, or we just give them fruit, or we just give them something to reap, when they have it in their head that they are not doing anything, but they still have this belief that if you have faith you can move mountain. You can see Christians most times in Christendom today that believe in miracle, that believe in this and that, and they never sow, but they just believe that it is God. If it's God that says I will reap it, I will reap it. You see people doing nothing but expect everything. You see people seeing the process of anything as an abomination. It is surprising to see that this law are being understood by those that don't even believe there is God. Most people that will proclaim there is no God always see need to walk, always see need to sow, always see need to plant, always see need to toil night and day, knowing fully well that they are passing through the process and expecting a result. But on the other hand, we see Christians who respect God for who He is, who respect God for who He has been, who respect God for what He has done. But when it comes to them believing Him and working with the process, by engaging their hands, planting, by sowing, they will sit down and fast and pray beautiful songs, but at the end of it all, no result. And this will begin to see God as a failure, not knowing that it was in their own head, it is in their own definition of Him as a magician and not a miracle God. So I believe God is a miracle God. It's possible you are trusting Him. If you have sowed your seed, if you have planted, if you have toiled, if you are trusting Him, if you are doing all you need to do, I assure you that someday your result will come true, because God is a miracle working God. But if you are not doing anything, if you are resting, if you are sleeping while others are working, if you are lying down, lazing around while others are planting, then be rest assured that even when time of harvest comes, you will still be in the dark, you will still be in want, you will still be in hunger, you will